Hello and welcome to the video where I'll be going through all the Photoshop files that I used in my project Ideas Shared. So this is all the files, basically everything that was a visual element to that video I will be going through in this one. So yeah, if you want to watch the one about the video side of things, you can watch the Final Cut Pro file walkthrough, which is either to the left of this video if you're on my website, or just somewhere else on the YouTube channel. We shall start off in so this folder here contains everything that went into that project. I think it's about 55 gig of stuff in this one project, which is ridiculous. But if we go into this Photoshop files one, let's first have a look at fullheadshot.psd. So quickly open up Photoshop. Wait for it to load in. Okay, so the way this one all works, this is the file for two of the scenes. It's the file for the first scene and also the scene with the rocket that flies out of Kate's head, evident by the fact that there's both the brain rocket and the two separate parts of the head. So I started off just with the headshot of Kate. I then, to get these eyes, used an elliptical marquee tool, selected this area of the eye. Yeah, roughly that. No, that's not what I wanted. But you get the idea. Selected that part, went to the filter, and then went to distort. But it is. There we go. I'll demonstrate on her nose. Here we go. So I selected my area, went up to filter, distort, 12, I think, and then 12 it in so that it creates this sort of area around the eye where it looks like there's like the shadow underneath where the eye is, and then created a white circle in a new layer, which is up here, I want to say. Yeah, so there's these circles which have like a feathered edge to them, so that they darken towards the edge as Kate's face was behind them. So together with that creates that, so that in the slime scene, the slime can come up behind the front of the face, but in front of the eyes. So if you watch the Final Cut walkthrough, you will see that in action. Yeah, so when it came to making the top of the head bit, I cut Kate out from the background, so the background's just here, so that I could add that in later on, and then just with the lasso tool, just cut out and selected the bits that I needed. Yeah, so that just works really. It's all quite simple. Like I said in the other video, I treated it like I was working with just paper images, really. So I was using the marquee tool or the lasso select as like a pair of scissors, and just cutting out all the bits that I needed, just in a new layer. So that all worked. That all worked pretty well. Let's find another file. Nope. The color flashing, this is just a series of JPEG images, just yellow, white, red, pink, light blue and green, that just flash every single frame, so that was very easy to put together. The slime document. Here we go. So this document contains basically everything to do with slime in the entire video, all as separate layers. So when I needed to draw some slime, I just came into this document and drew it in there. So I've got my pink and my black. To actually draw the slime was pretty easy. I'm just using the trackpad on my MacBook. Basically just picking like a reasonable sized brush, which isn't 5 apparently. Go around there maybe. Yeah. You just pick reasonable sized brush, draw the outline in black. And then draw in your little squiggly bits just to kind of make it look like it's flowing a bit. There we go. Put a little roof on it and then just paint it whatever color you need. So in that case, purple, and there we go. Of course that was done very quickly. I took a little bit more time on these, but basically whenever I needed something slime related, this document was a good one to come to because I already have the colors, so I could just grab the little color picker, grab whatever color I needed, and then carry on drawing. Which was just super simple, super easy to do, and meant that I had them all in one place, so I could just go in, I could effectively solo a layer, and then just render that out as a PNG, so then that was just one file by itself, which is nice and easy to do. What else do we have? I think that's just about everything in there. Let's go to random bit, maybe. If there's a Photoshop file of that. Which there should be, but possibly isn't. Oh, no, here it is, I think. Would have been useful if I saved all the Photoshop files in one place, but I didn't. So they're kind of scattered around. Not sure if this is actually the whole thing. Is it? Oh yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. So with this one, it was originally just this part, and then I just used the image canvas size and increase the canvas size so that I could draw in the claws. So originally it was just the other two bits there. When I first opened it, it was just this bit. So this is for the bit where the brain enters through the bottom, through the chin area, which I think is probably there we go. So there's these two layers, which is just the bottom jaw, which was once again done with the lasso select. Just selected those, and then layer via cut, I think. So they're just in separate layers. Everything else down here, yeah, so the background bit here, this was just like I just cut out this bit and then drew in that, and then from there I thought of the idea of like the claw scene, where the claw takes the brain from Rhiannon's head, so I expanded the canvas, drew the parts to the green claw. So this one is made of 3 parts. There's the actual arm and then each claw, so that they can hinge by themselves, and then also the purple suction cup, which I also knew I needed. I just drew it with a very long arm because I knew it was going to have to go the whole way across the screen. So that one's a pretty simple file. Again, I just did everything as it came to me. So like I started off with just this bit, and then I needed to do those bits, so I just expanded the canvas, and that was just how the workflow worked really well for me. Let's have a look. That's just about everything for that, I think. Okay, so the next bit, let's have a look in Alicia's folder. There should possibly be something in here. Maybe. These are all Photoshop files, but I'm not sure. No, that's not the right one. Let's see if this will open as a TIFF. Maybe in Photoshop and not in Lightroom. That'd be great. Oh, nope, it's trying to... I don't want that. There we go. So, for the one of Alicia, this one was super simple. I just needed to cut the top off of her head. So, just shot like literally, I think, maybe 4 photos. This was the best one. So, took it into Lightroom, did some basic touch-ups, grayed out the blacks a bit, because that's what I like doing to all my photos, and then just cut her out of the background. It didn't need to be anything incredible because that's not really the art style of this entire project. And then just cut the top of her head off. Originally I was just going to do it straight, like just straight across there, but then I thought, I could do it in a bit more of an interesting way, so I took the eyes out as well, because just thought it looked pretty good. So yeah, it just kind of just lifts out like that, which is pretty cool. What is next? For the hand pointing, I was just sitting at my desk. This is the one for the final scene. Oh, here we go. Yep, there we go. Yep, I was just sitting at my desk, editing the video, and then I thought, oh, I need a photo of a hand pointing. Looked at my own hand, thought, oh, that's great. Just popped my SD card in my camera, took a photo, popped it back in, and then just imported it in, cut it out, and yeah, that was done. Luckily, quite good background separation because it's like f4. So yeah, that one was pretty easy. It's actually reasonably well cut out, to be fair. But yeah, that one was super quick. What else have we got? In Brain, yes. This one's just all the files for the Brain related scenes. So there's just Brain, all the little meteors for the asteroid belt. So this image is just comprised of lots of asteroids. It's a PNG, so the white is see-through, so that I can have that strobing effect underneath, just so that I don't have to have... I did this so I don't need like 5 asteroid belts and it then switches between all of them as they're just... this moves and then the flashing lights underneath don't move, which is just, it just works really well. And I mean, I've used that technique throughout the video. Whenever there's flashing, whenever there's like parts of a scene flashing, it's just like one full frame, and then the images on top are PNGs, and they just have transparent parts to them. Revolving heads. Oh yeah, right, so revolving heads, this is the bit towards the end. I just got Rhiannon to stand in the studio and just took photos of her turning around, so they didn't need to be awfully incredible photos, so she just turned round. I took photos as she turned round, and then I cut them all out so there was just her head. I just followed her hairline. Yeah, I just followed her hairline so that the cutouts were consistent. I then put this all into Final Cut Pro as a separate little project, just so I could line everything up and then export it. It of course exported with a black background, so when I then took it into the full file, I just used a keyer, took out that black background, and you can see the effect that that had towards the end of the video. ended up being quite interesting. There's also the bit where Rhiannon's mouth, like, just after the spinning head bit, Rhiannon's mouth opens up and the head and the mouth kind of fly over the screen. So that was just done. Originally I did these as PNGs, so there wasn't a black background there, but then I remembered that, of course, the actual videos that are being keyed have black backgrounds, so to get the same effect, I just left this with a black background and keyed it exactly the same way. I needed Kate's eyes, so needed Kate's eyes for the next scene, so I just took screenshots of them and then cut them out. This is the little file of me tapping my foot. There's me just sitting down. That was shot flat, and then I took it into DaVinci Resolve and just made all the blacks blacker, because DaVinci Resolve is for color grading stuff. I don't think I have the files on there anymore, because I then ran out of space on my MacBook because it only has like 120 gig SSD, which sucks, but the other ones are really expensive, so a reasonable amount of the work has all been done off of the SD card, because that has like another 64 gig of space, which is pretty useful. Oh, there it is. Speak of the devil. Any edit? And here we go. Is it actually here? Nope. It is here. It's right there. It's lying to us. Oh, okay. Yeah, the footage isn't there. No. There we go. So you can't. Oh, there we go. Amazing. So basically, that's the actual image. Because it was just shot with. It was just shot with normal lights in the studio bit, and then graded it. So this is the actual image out of the camera, and then graded just to darken it a bit, and then I used a mask around the edge just to make everything black, because I knew it didn't have to be incredible. So there's a bit of shading here, which in an ideal world wouldn't be there, but this was just the easiest way to do it. Because I mean, I didn't want any of this black background. I didn't really want the chair, so I just used that mask and took it all out. You can see down here, just graying out the blacks a bit. If I go into the color wheels, like bringing down the shadows a bit, and the secondaries, yeah, bit of a saturation boost. Yeah, highlights move towards orange, shadows move towards blue, just the classic film look, to be honest. And then that's just exported in ProRes 42HQ so that it fits with the rest of the Final Cut Pro file. I don't need to save that, to be honest. Not helpful. Right, what else is there? Let's have a look. This one. No, you've already been to brain. Credits. There's the hand. Everything's sort of in folders. For the opening eye bit at the beginning and at the end in the credits scene, this is just. I think what I did is I made an entirely white canvas and then used the elliptical marquee, selected a bit, and then right-click, inverse selection. Painted that bit black, and then selected the white bit, and then just cut that out so that part became transparent. Yeah, so this bit down here is all transparent so that it's like an eye, and then just imported two of those, flipped one upside down, and that was that. Oh yeah, so do we have the yeah, so the checkered background is reasonably interesting. This is again what's it called? Like a PNG with a transparent background. So the way this was done is I made a grid Oh, actually, there it is. There's the grid. So I took this grid. If I just make a copy of it, maybe. Yeah. I was just messing around with ways that I could sort of make an interesting pattern, and yeah, this is okay. And then there was this one, which is pretty cool. That one's okay. So yeah, to get from this to that, I went up. Let's make sure. Yep. Go away. I think it's distort polar coordinates. Yeah. There you go. And the polar coordinates does this, but we need it in the whole bit there. So distort polar coordinates. There we go. So that then makes this tunnel, and then to get this, I just filled in some of the squares blue just to add a bit of interest to it, to be honest. So yeah, you go from that to that, just with polar coordinates. I'd never used it before as a filter, but it turned out to be really cool. So the Hoover was just drawn basically how everything else has been drawn, and then I just copied the eyes out of the document with Kate. So that one was pretty easy. Making the physical one, there is a post about that. You can check that out anyway. That's all on there. The planet landing, this is a deleted scene. Originally, the brain flew out of Kate's head and landed on a planet, but I decided against that in the end, because it didn't fit with the story in quotation marks. But yeah, this was just drawn pretty normally. Yeah, same style as everything else. I think that's everything. Yeah. There's a lot of deleted files in here. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff where I did it and I was like, that doesn't work, or that doesn't exactly fit. So even at the end, I created this star background for the scene where the rocket flies out of Kate's head, because I didn't like the fact that it was just a static background. So like 10 minutes in Photoshop, just put together all these stars. It's like a bit more sparse at the bottom, and then it gets more packed at the top as the rocket flies up into space, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, like there's some more experimenting with backgrounds and stuff. But yeah, I think that's just about everything. That's all the Photoshop files I can find. So thank you very much for watching. If you need anything else, if you want to know more about a particular file or something, maybe pop it in the comments section, and I'll do that. Cool. Right. If you haven't seen the other file, you can go and look at the Final Cut file, and that should be pretty interesting. Cool. We'll see you next time.